The Law of the North Wind. The valley was a cathedral of ancient pines and rushing meltwater, a place where time usually felt like stone. But for the brown bear cub and the white butterfly, time was a thief. The cub was heavy and earthen, smelling of damp moss and wild clover. He was a creature of the ground, bound by gravity and the coming winter. The butterfly was a fragment of light, a delicate shimmer of white silk that seemed to be held together only by the strength of her own will. She was a creature of the air, bound by the zephyr and the ticking clock of the seasons. They spent their days in a pocket of golden sunlight by the river. It was peaceful, the kind of peace that feels like a held breath. He would sit perfectly still, his massive paws tucked in so she could rest on the bridge of his nose. To the rest of the world, he was a predator in training. To her, he was a warm, breathing mountain. To the world, she was a fleeting speck. To him, she was the only thing that made the sunlight worth watching. But as the shadows of the pines began to lengthen and the first bite of the north wind nipped at the clover, the peace began to ache. "The air is changing," the butterfly whispered, her wings twitching with a restlessness she couldn't control. It was the law of her kind. The migration, the movement, the end of the summer bloom. The cub looked at her, his dark eyes brimming with a wisdom that shouldn't belong to someone so small. He knew about the winter. He knew about the deep sleep that was calling to his bones. He knew that while he would be tucked away in the heart of the mountain, she would be half a world away, chased by the frost. "I know," the cub rumbled, his voice vibrating deep in his chest. He reached out a heavy, furred paw, moving with a terrifying gentleness to touch the leaf she sat upon. "Your wings. They look like they want to catch the wind." "I don't want to catch it," she said, her voice like the rustle of dry grass. "I want to stay here, in the warmth of your fur. I want to watch the snow fall on your ears." The cub felt a tear track through the fur on his muzzle. "The snow would break you, little chalk. You are made of summer. You have to go where the sun stays." The silence that followed was the most painful thing in the valley. It was the silence of two souls, realizing that their love was a miracle, but their lives were a mismatch. He was built for the cold. She was built for the light. She took flight then, circling his head in a dizzying, beautiful dance. She landed one last time, right between his ears, where the fur was softest. "Will you remember the way I looked against the green?" she asked. "I will see you in every snowflake," he promised. "Every white drift will be a memory of your wings." The north wind gave a sudden, sharp howl. The time had run out. The butterfly lifted, caught in a current she could no longer fight. She hovered for a heartbeat, looking down at the small brown bear who looked so incredibly lonely against the vastness of the forest. "See you later," she called out, the words small and fragile, carried away almost instantly by the breeze. The cub stood up on his hind legs, reaching out toward the sky, his heart feeling like a stone in his chest. He didn't say goodbye. He couldn't. "See you later," he growled softly into the wind, a promise and a prayer. He watched her until she was nothing more than a white speck, then a spark, and then just part of the sky. He turned toward the dark mouth of his cave, the mountain feeling heavier than it ever had before. He would sleep, and he would dream of white wings, waiting for the world to turn back toward the sun.